growing up in a town of 3,000 people with one red light, if there were gay people around, I certainly didn't know it. And so when I went to college, it was a challenging experience, to say the least, to go through the process of coming out and then get to a point where I had finally, after 2.5 years of being out in my college town, creating this cocoon, if you will, of people. And it was a really safe space for me to just be who I was. And then all of a sudden, I was graduating, and it was very challenging because I didn't know what the future held for me. This was at a time, 1997, this was right when Ellen was coming out, and people were convinced that her career was over, and there weren't groups like doing the same things that they are now, like Out and Equal and HRC, and certainly all of the anti-bullying and, special projects. And so it was a challenging time to go into the workplace and just know whether you'd be accepted or not. And so in every environment that I went into, I just made a vow to myself to just be who I was, and no matter what. And the thing that I've learned over, almost 20 years since that point is that it's awesome to have these policies in place. It's amazing to have protocols and to have safeguards for people in the workplace. But what I've come to understand is that it goes beyond that to some extent, and that it's a personal responsibility, I believe, for each person to show up to that workplace and just be who you are. And that means in some ways you have to let people in. You have to allow people to get to know you and to accept you and love you for who you are. And I think sometimes that's the biggest challenge, is how can I show up to my workplace and feel comfortable in my own skin, and how can I just show up and be me? What we know about employee resource groups and diversity councils and these organizations is that they're amazing, and they're doing wonderful things to create policies and to create strides and open doors that weren't available before. But what we also know is that no matter who you are, if you don't come into the workplace and feel comfortable and confident in who you are and feel competent in what you're doing, it in some ways it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to the same extent, because that person's not going to show up and be who they are. And so I think it's critical in the workplace now to have the policies and to have the people development that goes alongside it. And that's exactly what I'm doing now in my career as a trainer and as a consultant and as a CEO of Tools to Change, is taking all these years of experience and coming out in all these different ways and going into organizations and helping them empower their people so that everyone, no matter who you are, whether you're an ally, whether you're gay, straight, bi, trans, whatever, you can show up to work and just be who you are, and to allow your true talents and your skill sets and all of the ways that you create, allow that to come through.
I've done a lot of coming out in the last few months as Laura and I have traveled around and met people, and I've been a part of the gay culture and community. And even though my daughter was gay, being a mother of a gay daughter does not give you all the tools that you need in order to be able to go and become a part of that culture. And I have to say, it's the most welcoming community that I've ever been a part of. But I've had to learn some things not to say and some things that were appropriate to say, because the last thing I would ever want to do is offend anyone. That's so as a mom, 20 years ago, I would have never dreamed that this is what I would be doing. But it feels right. It feels like it's what my purpose is, because I'm at a time in life to give back. And this is my way to give back. And if I can help one person along the way, then I've made a difference. It's kind of like that story about the starfish, where the little girl picks up the starfish and keeps throwing it back, and the man tells her, he says, "You can't save all these starfish." She says, "Yeah, but I might can save one." So that's what we're about. I'm gonna do it.